to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about a very different subject. We're going to be talking about some short stories from history, though I like to call this segment Fuck Up History because the stories are fucked up. Right, so this one I'm having to get the phone up for it for pronunciation because I think we know by now that I'm actually very bad at pronunciation. So 57 to 29 BC, a Hasmonean princess called Mariam married a Judean king called King Herod. Now King Herod was a very possessive partner, and what he did was when he would pass away, he'd put plans in place so that his wife would actually get executed so that she wasn't allowed to actually remarry. So yeah, I mean I thought some guys now were pretty psycho these days, but that is just a whole another level. Anyway, so his possessive sort of nature was actually taken advantage of by his mother and sister, who didn't actually even like the queen or the new queen, the princess that he married. And what they used to do is sort of whisper in his ear and just sort of say like, oh, she's cheating, like she's being disloyal, she's horrible, all of this. And obviously because it got too much, it got to the point where they would just keep saying it to him all the time, it actually made him believe it. So we don't actually know. I have looked at multiple sources and we don't actually know. I think just purely because it was such a long time ago, we don't know whether she was actually disloyal or not. But then we also do know that the mother and sister are not very nice people, just by the sounds of things. So they could both be lying. But regardless of that, it obviously got too much for him to the point where he actually did believe it, and he just sort of thought, nah, you're taking me for a mug, bruv. Can he do it anymore? He was just like, nah, get rid of this cheater. Bye, Felicia. Bye. Executed. Sad, very sad. So what he actually did next was more of the sort of sticky situation, if you pardon the pun.
If you pardon the pun. If you pardon the pun.
He decided to actually preserve his wife's body in honey. And the reason for this is because he still loved her at the end of the day. And he just wanted to see her every day, so... Oh, isn't that sweet? It's quite cute, actually. Goals, baby. Cool, I hope when I eventually one day get married to someone, who knows, that maybe they'll do the same. No, that's actually really messed up. I'm thinking about that. That's actually really messed up. That's weird. Actually, we'll have to do a story on a queen that actually... Did she keep her husband's head? There's a story about a queen that kept her husband's head another time. So he preserved her body in honey. Disturbing. Nah, it's a little bit messed up, but I think you think of it like that and it is kind of sweet.
If you'll pardon the pun.
He actually wanted to keep her body because he wanted to have intercourse with it, and he continued to have intercourse with her body for 7 years. But, like, how does that even work? Does he maybe get his workers to, like, wash her down? Does he do the deed while she's got honey on her? It's just like, it's his very own honeypot, isn't it?
If you pardon the pun.
Oh, these puns are awful. Is that an innuendo? I don't know. But, yeah, his very own personal honeypot. It's kind of a bit of a messed up romance, really, isn't it? I mean, I'm all for one for people that have got, like, love-hate relationships. I think we've all been there, but that's pretty intense. I mean, to add insult to injury as well, he actually executed, as well as her, both their sons, Aristobulus and Alexander. But he did actually have quite a few sons. So when I was searching it up, just to mention here, he actually had 19 children. 19 children. And then he executed 2 of them, but 19 children. Back in the day, they used to have quite a lot of children anyway. I think mostly because like children would just pass away. Like you were lucky if you lived past the age of like 4 or 5, I think it was. Probably because they made them do like weird jobs, like blooming Victorian children doing like chimney sweeps and that. Anyway, unrelated. And do you want to know the funny thing is as well? So bearing in mind that he's called King Herod, he named 6 of his children Herod. What? Like surely there are more names. Like I know it's a very long time ago, but have a bit of imagination, especially if you're king as well. Like, I understand you're probably like probably loving yourself off because you're like, oh, I'm king over here. Like, yeah, look at my name. I've got such a cool name. Like, do you know what? Even if I was queen or blooming princess, I wouldn't want to name my child Charlotte. I'd be like,
is anyone Charlotte around here?
But yeah, a bit weird. Maybe have a bit more imagination. Doesn't really matter because he's not alive now, so yeah, have that one for your day. So the next one that we've got, this one's probably my favourite. This one's hilarious. So in medieval Germany, if a man and a woman were having a sort of dispute, they were allowed to have something, it was basically a law passed called a marital dispute, I think I'm saying that right. And it would just basically require them to just fight it out. However, I think because men are, like with hormones and stuff like that, they're a lot stronger than women, so the women had to get a bit of a handicap. So what they would do is the man would be put in a hole up to about here, I'll pop a picture in, and the woman was allowed to sort of move freely as she wanted and then fight it out. And the woman would also be allowed a bag of rocks, so there's that. Sounds pretty even, to be fair, if you ask me.
You didn't put the washing away, right, you need to get in the hole, and we need to settle this, please.
That's brutal. That is actually horrible. I want to know what kind of rocks. To be fair, even if it was like, doesn't really matter if it's big rocks or small rocks, I think that equally they're going to do just as bad damage. How hard is she going to be hitting him? How much do you hate your husband? Not good. Like, would you really be hating on them that much to be doing something like that? I find that hilarious. I want to know who made this rule, because, I mean, surely, if it's in medieval times, I can't imagine there would be a woman, because, I mean, women couldn't even get rights for ages, let alone someone being, well, not even parliament, because it's Germany, but it being their sort of, like, politician place. I should probably find out what it's called, but am I gonna? No, I don't think I am, because I'm lazy. Yeah, that's brutal. What happens if you unalive them? Like, what happens if you smack them around the head with some rocks, and then, yeah, you unalive them? Even just something simple, like, even if you don't even have the rocks, even if you just batter them on the head with your fist, or you kick them in the head, like, you might hit their temple. I think a bag of rocks is going to do a lot of damage, especially if you're sticking out the ground. Your main place to hit them is going to be their head. What happens if you unalive them? I guess you know who wins then, so... Not quite even, but, I mean, would you go to prison for that? Ooh, there's a plot hole. Plot hole twist. But I can't imagine that this, I don't think this law is actually allowed now, probably for obvious reasons. Now, you may have heard of the expression Roman candles, and this is actually where the name Roman candles originates from. So in 64 AD, a Roman emperor called Nero, who you probably have heard of because that is quite a famous Roman emperor, he actually hated Christians. He couldn't stand them. So the reason they believed that he actually hated Christians was because there was a great sort of fire of Rome. So there was actually a great fire of Rome which lasted for 9 days and destroyed 2/3 of the imperial city. So it actually caused damage to 10 out of the 14 districts in Rome. And it was led to believe that, well, Nero heard that apparently it was some Christians that had started it. So Emperor Nero didn't actually want to put it down as an accident. He wanted to blame certain people. So he decided to blame religious minorities, in particular being Christians, because he just didn't like Christians. Weird. So what Emperor Nero decided to do next is grim. He decided to get pitch, oil, wax, other flammable materials, cover the absolute whole body of a Christian, and set them alight. So they were literally a human candle, which is grim. But yeah, he would have a lot of different parties, and he'd have them on display, and it was to prolong their torture, basically, which is absolutely brutal. Like, I don't know where these generals and these emperors get these ideas from, because, like, yeah, power can do a lot, but I just don't understand how you can be that messed up in the head to even think about something like that. So Julius Caesar, I think we all know who Julius Caesar, he was actually another Roman emperor, a very, very famous one. Fun fact for your day as well, did you know that he actually went out with Cleopatra? What a power couple, eh? But yeah, one day, I think before he was actually emperor, he was captured by some pirates, and the pirates basically said to all of his mates and people in charge, you're not getting him back until you pay a ransom. So if you don't know what a ransom is just basically to exchange something for something else. So usually for like kidnappings, it would be to exchange someone for a large sum of money, or it could be an object. So it could be like a block of gold or a crown. I don't know. I've been watching too many films. Maybe I should kidnap someone. I'm getting that kind of skimp recently, to be fair. So this one actually really made me laugh because he's clearly feeling himself. I mean, Julius Caesar, I think you would, wouldn't you? He was actually insulted by the amount that they've asked for a ransom. He said it was far too low for such an important person, which don't really know why I'm doing that because it's literally Julius Caesar. Who am I compared to Julius Caesar? So just as an FYI, they actually had the original ransom at 20 talents, which is equivalent to $30 million, which is just over 24 million pounds. But he insisted that they raise it to 50 talents, which is $70 million, which is just over 58 million pounds. So I found it really funny because he seems so extra, like, yeah, baby. When he was aboard, apparently he used to boss them around. He used to take the mickey at the fact that they couldn't read, they couldn't write, things like that. He used to make them listen to like his poems and like speeches that he'd written, like just so extra. That's some bad beat energy, baby. Bad bitch energy. That's some bad beat bully energy. This is basically the Regina George of his day, is he not? So whilst this was all going on, he did say to them multiple times, when I get rescued and they pay the ransom, I'm going to come back with my like people and we're going to come and crucify you. And they just ignored him because they were like, no, that's not going to happen. It's not actually very clear on sources to say whether they did actually raise the ransom or not, but I mean, you'd be very stupid not to, especially if, say, for example, they come over, paid the original ransom, and then you're just sitting there thinking, well, that was easy. We literally could have raised it. We could have had, like, a lot more money. So I'm guessing that they did. But anyway, so the ransom was paid, regardless whether it was increased or not. So he actually assembled a naval fleet, went back to the pirates, crucified all of them, and I'm guessing he probably got his money back as well, which he probably, by the sound of it, didn't need, but yeah, so fair play to him, I suppose. I wouldn't want to be kidnapped, no Julius Caesar, thank you, baby. So, have you ever wondered why women give birth the way they do, as in when they lay down? So it's not actually due to science, it's not due to biology, it's not due to physics. It's not due to physics, but it is actually down to a king's fetish from the 17th century. Not a lot of people know this, and when I found this out, I think this is what actually started this whole thing of, I've always been really interested in history, but when I heard about that, I was just like, what? I was like, that is so gross. So the normal way of women giving birth is basically to sit in an upright position and to be sort of sat down, squatting, or standing up. Sat down, don't think it's sat down. Squatting or standing upright, which, I don't know, it sounds so wrong just purely because you see so many women giving birth, like laying down. This is how freaky he was. He wanted to watch it happen, but I mean, by doing that, he couldn't really see. And obviously back in them days as well, you weren't even really meant to be in the room. So what would happen is he basically said to his wives and his mistresses, and then what he would do is peek behind a curtain and actually watch it. So, what, I don't know, like, it's weird as well, because when I was looking on sources, they don't know why this was even a thing. They don't know why this was a thing in his mind that interested him, and they don't know what it was led on from. So, I don't know, like, I look into a lot of stuff about people being unalived and stuff like that, and a lot of it is because something that's happened in their childhood. So I reckon that maybe he's seen like his mum give birth or something. That's just my analysis of it, but I don't know I don't know if he could have been the youngest, so
probably not actually, considering they weren't even allowed in the room, but I don't remember me saying this because I'm a goldfish.
Who knows, maybe he had his first wife, they had a baby, and then, or whoever he had a baby with first, and he saw it and he was just kind of like,
hold up, I quite like that.
That's nice.
Wow, is very nice.
So King Louis XIV of France was basically obsessed with watching his children be born, And you might think, oh, that's actually kind of sweet. Like, oh, I just want to be there for his wife or whoever he's impregnated and they've given birth. But no, it was actually really creepy. So he wasn't actually happy when they were in the upright position because it means that he couldn't see all the action happen. So whilst they were on a birthing table, which he was like...
Yeah, I'm going to bring this in whilst I'm ruling. I'm going to bring this in so I can watch from behind the curtain.
He would watch from behind the curtain and watch all of the action unfold. And God knows what he was doing behind that curtain. Ooh. Ew, that is so weird. Cool, can you imagine him nowadays? Like... Oh, mate. Forget the sex offenders list. Just put him in jail. Ill. So he actually ruled between 1643 and 1715, meaning the whole time that he ruled, that was a thing. And it obviously caught on and it was fashionable because everyone else started to do it. So, and it's bizarre because it's now actually one of the most popular ways to give birth, even though it can actually prolong labour. And it can also increase your chances of actually having a C-section. So I think I want to try and give birth on all fours, to be quite honest. Or maybe sitting up, laying down, maybe even squat. I could just imagine how painful that would be though. Surely you'd have to have like a little cushion or something so baby just doesn't fall down or someone catching it for you. No, do you know what I heard about the other day? I heard that you can get a dolphin assisted birth, and now I really want one. Living in England, it probably would be quite hard to actually find somewhere that's got a dolphin. I mean, I don't know anywhere nearby that's got a dolphin. Maybe London Aquarium? I don't think they'd let me do that.
Hiya, can I just borrow one of your dolphins for a sec? I just need to give birth to my child.
So what have we learnt today? So you're probably just best off getting regular candles from B&M, Primark, literally anywhere. Don't use a human, even if someone's annoying you that much, it's probably not best to do that. I think we should bring the man and the whole thing back, if I'm honest. They really do be getting on our nerves sometimes. Bag of rocks is a bit extreme though. I'll settle for like, I don't know, bag of pebbles? It's a bit better, isn't it? I mean, they're softer edges, so... Nah, just maybe like a pillow or something. Maybe something a bit harder. Never, ever, ever stop being high maintenance. Be as high maintenance as you was. Never stop being high maintenance, even if it is for pirates.
Beat that bad pee, baby.
And even if I don't get a dolphin assisted birth, I'm gonna squat that bad boy out. I don't want to lay down. I'm gonna So that is all for today. So thank you so much for watching my videos today. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, comment. I really appreciate everyone who watches my videos, even though there's literally not that many, but we move, we get there. But have a lovely rest of your day and see you next time. Bye. There's some advice. It's probably not good. Take it anyway. You don't have to. I probably wouldn't, because I'm thick as hell, baby. Cover girl. Can you hear me clicking my... I pay 50 Italians. Not yoga now. Bad bitch. Bad bitch. Bad bitch.